What is happening, people? Welcome back to the show. This is the Upper Tier podcast, but it is the Shankly Sessions tonight. We're going to be bringing you a Brentford versus Liverpool preview. Massive game for the Reds tomorrow at lunchtime, 12:30. Surprise, Silla, as they say. 12:30 kickoff. Some breaking news this evening that can't seem to catch a break at the moment, can we, in terms of players and injuries and stuff like that? But we'll go into that in a little bit. It will change our lineup slightly, but I won't be able to edit the slide, obviously, but we will talk around it as we always do. But yeah, welcome to the Shankly Sessions. If you could subscribe to the Upper Tier, press that bell notification button, hit a like on the video and share the content, all that good stuff. This is your Brentford, as I said, versus Liverpool preview. Massive game for both. Brentford, I think, down in 14th, just 6 points above the drop zone. So a massive game for them. Having home advantage. Not a great ground for us to visit when we're in need of a result and stuff like that. We have struggled there on numerous occasions. But we have in recent times gotten over that kind of hoodoo of the 12:30 kickoff, of course. So, of course, we will go into that with a little bit of confidence. A number of players returning for us as well, but we will get into that. But first, we will start, as always we do. We'll start with a bit of good news first before we get into the Gaffer's press conference and stuff like that and all. And the good news really is this. Legends game coming up in March against Ajax, and Sven-Göran Eriksson will be part of the management team for that Legends charity match. Absolutely fantastic. Delighted to see it. Big shout out to Doug, who did a great job on getting it out there and stuff like that. He was on Sky Sports and everything and all. So hopefully they look after Doug in some way as well, hopefully for that day. But big up to Doug, of course. And also the news that Fernando Torres will be taking part in that Legends game as well. So for all you much younger Reds potentially going to that Legends games, you're going to get a look at Fernando Torres and understand why us as Reds fell in love with this man. He was absolutely sensational for us. We'll look a little bit different this time round, and will look like he probably will need a bigger jersey, because that man is buff as hell at the moment. If you've seen any of his Instagram posts and stuff like that, that man is jacked to the gills, as they say. But brilliant news coming out of that today. The Gaffer spoke about in the press conference as well, and we'll touch on it as part of that as well. But big news coming out of that today. Big up, Stephen. How are you, my friend? How have you been keeping? I haven't heard from you in a while. Probably hiding under a duvet from all this West Ham stuff, no doubt. But good to see you in there, pal. Thanks for joining us tonight, as always. Let us know your thoughts on that, and that comes up as well. Chat. But yeah, that's the big news. Sven-Göran Eriksson coming over to be part of the management team, and he will get an unbelievable welcome to Anfield. And it just goes to show the positivity of what things can be done at times in the midst of very dark times. And you know, when you get bad news like this, and it doesn't get any better than this really, but that you can put some sort of a smile and a ray of light on it by doing things like this. And it's incredible. Well done for the club, and well done to Sven as well. And absolutely, and hopefully people will come out in their droves to support that charity match as well, and to give Sven somewhat of a send-off, as I would say, you know. So let's see how March goes and stuff like that. And we'll keep anything that develops on that, we'll keep you posted on it. Right, so let's get into the Gaffer's presser on this one. And the world has changed even since this presser. What's the crack, Niall? How are you? Daz? Don't know, Daz, if you've seen the latest news from Fabrizio Romano. Another hamstring injury to a man we could ill afford to lose. But we will talk about it, but it's not good. I don't know what's going on at the club at the moment, but in terms of players and injuries, there's this dark cloud hovering over us at the moment, and it's not good. I was disgusted by the way our players gave up against Arsenal. Yeah, it was horrible to see, Stephen, wasn't it? And especially on the back of the United result as well. You would have thought that you would have got a reaction at home as well. And it's always very sad. I was talking to Darren about it last night on the Thursday tier talk as well. It's always sad before half time when your fans are streaming out of the stadium in absolute disgust and stuff like that. And what what a crazy 10, 12 minutes it was to the end of that half as well. And of course, Rice had to score as well. Yeah, but I tell you, Stephen, he did it. He did it in the right way, didn't he? He scored an absolutely unbelievable goal that 99% of keepers definitely would not save. But he also dampened it down while the rest of the Arsenal team were celebrating. He was on his own, calming it down, didn't want to celebrate, showing the proper respect he should show to West Ham. And I think that's nice. Other players would have celebrated it and gone into the emotion of scoring such a great goal. But fair play to him. Do you reckon it's a lie, Daz? What do you reckon? I haven't seen that. I just seen it coming through there. One of the guys sent it to us on the WhatsApp group. Do you reckon it's true? Let me know if you've seen anything else out there online as well, folks, if you've heard that. The person in question, of course, is Alison Becker. One we could really not do with losing at the moment and stuff like that. But let us know, Daz, if you've seen that and else. Get out there on Twitter, my friend. See can you find any other further update for us on it. But that would be a huge problem if he's missing for a number of weeks, because especially with the players we have coming back now, we needed to lift the whole situation, you know. Right, let's get into the presser. And of course, we started with Klopp on Sven-Göran Eriksson managing the Legends team. He says, great, absolutely great. I was always convinced everything would work out, and it's really nice. A legend coaches a legends. I've never been here when the Legends team have played, but I know they use all the facilities. That's what we want to hear. And Sven will get the full tour. He'll get to sit in the office. He'll get to do it all, no doubt, and rightly so. Team news and injuries and Salah. Mo is back in full training. That brings him automatically into contention. Absolutely. Ibu is not suspended anymore, which is good. Joey has recovered, of course, Joey Gomez, from that flu outbreak that was there. And Connor, of course, is back, and he'll be back to prove a point to, do the passing of his dad properly and stuff like that. No, expect a big performance from Connor Bradley tomorrow. Great to have him back. Ali is back as well. He was affected by the flu virus, but we don't know at the moment. There's been talk out there that apparently there's been a hamstring injury and ruling him out of the Brentford game, but we don't know how true it is, but we'll have to see. But that's the talk coming out this evening. Obviously, Trent is forced out. He was back and then he's out again. Kind of a talk of the gaffer alluded to being rushed back and stuff like that. And he goes, well, we don't rush players back. We bring players back when we feel the team and everyone else assesses and the medical team clears them to play and all that kind of stuff. So absolutely mad. But yeah, that was the gist of that. We have Mo was back, Connor's back, Joey's back, Ali's supposed to be back. Don't know yet, and Ibu was supposed to be back, so that will absolutely lift the squad, getting 4 players like that back, and hopefully the news on Alisson hopefully isn't true. Klopp on the Brentford test, it was super tricky there. The way they play and set up, with or without Tony, makes a difference. All the guys back from the AFCON makes a difference. Mopay makes a difference. Well organised set pieces, cheeky rhythm breaks, and they want set pieces. That's how it is. How can you play Brentford for 90 minutes without conceding a set piece? That's not possible. And certainly not in our case, it's not possible because we do concede set pieces. But they are more than just set pieces. They are well coached, and the atmosphere the stadium creates is really good. Saying all that, we have to be on top of our game. We have to be the team where they think in a similar way about us. That's exactly the way we have to approach it. I have been pleased, especially with the resilience we have shown recently. Arsenal a dip, but the tenacity we showed against Burnley, dealing with a difficult situation within the squad. I really liked it. We have to be at our best to beat Brentford. Absolutely. And a lot of rivals, we were talking about it today, actually. A lot of rivals were talking about how this is a potential banana skin for us. And it normally is. This is a tough game. And I think sometimes I get even more apprehensive about these type of games than I do if we were playing City or someone, because with City, you know what you're going to get. You know what way you have to set up and stuff like this. With Brentford, like a lot of these things, Brentford, Brighton, those type of teams, you're not sure what you're going to get. You can get a brilliant Brentford side tomorrow that can do really good things, or you can get a Brentford side that we've seen has been on a bit of a roller coaster ride since losing players and to the AFCON and injury and all that kind of stuff. And Thomas Frank has found it very difficult there this season. That's why he finds himself in 14th. I think only 6 points above If I check it here, yeah, 14th, only 6 points above the drop zone with a game in hand, but that game in hand is against Man City. So that doesn't really help his cause. And we've seen down there in that bottom three and stuff like that, or that bottom 6 or 7, a run of 2 or 3 results going against you or with you can make a huge difference. And even talk potentially that Everton might get some points back. If they do get some points back, that's going to make a huge difference as well. I think Brentford will be okay, but certainly I think they'd be looking over their shoulders as well, just to make sure, because it's very different to last year. Klopp on Brentford playing 2 strikers. It's not that rare. That's not the problem. The problem is the ball's played to Tony and how he can bring it into the next player. Their second ball game is second to none. Tony is really difficult using his body. If you get on the ball and Tony goes down, then they get a free kick. That's the situation. It's very smart what they do, and it's exactly what I would do if I was them. It keeps them for years and the next year in the Premier League. That's the difference, the cleverness of how they play and the cleverness of Ivan Toney and how important he is to Brentford. Klopp on quick change of fortunes at Liverpool compared to 12 months ago. If I would have thought about it, I would have been surprised, but I didn't. I'm pretty sure all the teams who are playing with us in the same region of the table will say, okay, that's a game where Liverpool might struggle. This is what we're talking about here. Rivals will think tomorrow we could potentially drop points. And that's really, really important that we go out there and maintain that position, because we know what happens. We know what happens if we drop the ball tomorrow and Man City take top place in the league and then we're trying to hunt them down. We know what happens. Let's not fool ourselves here. So this is vital tomorrow. All about the points, not necessarily about the performance. It's about getting through. Klopp on the squad versatility. It is very important. In general, that's how a squad should be. Joey is a different player. When I arrived, he played left back, but he's a centre back. He can play left back and obviously can play right back in a specific way. Unfortunately, he couldn't play enough for different reasons. Now he plays the role either side and is a really good example for versatility and development. The only real positioning is when you defend. It's different when you are passing. It's super helpful, and we always find arguments over a position for a player, but we have to make a decision for the team on the day. Most of the times, even with all the injuries we have been able to sort it. The boys have had rhythm as they have played games. There's still a long way to go. I took up on that. I don't know what you took up on that comment from Jurgen Klopp, that section of the press conference. Is he alluding to the fact, is Robbo going to play? Does Joey get that left back spot back? What way are we looking at this? Let us know. When we get into the lineups, let us know your thoughts on that. But reflect back on what the gaffer is saying there. Is he preparing us for Joe being on the bench, or is he preparing us for Joe going to start? And that's one of the big questions. Klopp on Elliott. Harvey's not doing that, but we have had talks. You forget how old he is. Young players go through different moments in early days of their career, flying, not flying, working hard, not him, but all young players in general. Harvey has been incredibly important, and I'm sure he knows that. He probably wishes to have started every game, but when he has come on, he is brilliant. When he has started, it's not the same, but he's young. It's not like he'll be a super sub for the rest of his career. Learn the game, use your skill set. There is a lot he is doing well, and there is more he can do. He is a joy to work with. It is absolutely exceptional how he is trained this week. Harvey Elliott, summing up Harvey Elliott. Good shout there by the gaffer and stuff like that. Making it very clear that if you look at Harvey Elliott's body of work this season, when he has started, he hasn't performed quite as well as when he's come on as a sub, but he doesn't want to categorise him as a super sub. Really, really important. So there you go. Klopp on Alexander-Arnold, Trent, and Dominic Szoboszlai. It's a super intense period. People think about the final, but before we have Brentford and Luton, 2 key games. I'm not thinking a second about the final. With Dom, it will be around that time, the final. We will see. With Trent, maybe a week or 2 longer. It's not great. Dom maybe for the final and Trent after. So not good news on the Trent front. The talk is he's going to miss 5 games, of bringing us up past the Nottingham Forest game, so he will miss the final. Dominic, he says they might have him back in time for the final. So let's see what happens there. That was basically it. That was the presser from the gaffer today. Well, I'll take your comments in here. Apparently, there was only 22,000 left in the stadium at half time out of 62,000. Yeah, Stephen, it's, you know what I mean? And I say it all the time, a team has to give fans something to cheer about as well. It's a two-way street. What do you think of the allegations, Noel? I was talking about them on Wednesday, Stephen, on the Pro Wrestling Weekly show, and I did another show as well talking about that final match for Sting as well and the Young Bucks situation as well. So it's all up there, but yeah, it's heavy duty, Stephen, isn't it? It's heavy duty stuff. The Ashley Mazzaro stuff is real heavy duty stuff. Not to mention any of the others and stuff like that. But this is crushing for us as pro wrestling fans who have followed, as I said, pro wrestling most of our lives. But not only that, we took our fandom of pro wrestling and we put it into the hands of Vince McMahon. And that legacy now is all going to be washed away. I think Bret Hart said it best in his interview where he said, this is what he's going to be renowned for. This is what he's going to be known as going forward. He will be the butt of people's jokes and also. Let's see what happens. Keith is in. What's up, Niall? When was the last time we had a full fit Liverpool team this season? I don't know. Well, we haven't, have we? The truth is we haven't. But as the Gaffer alluded to in his press conference and stuff like that, he has said that in moments when we have had injuries or players missing, we have had quality players to come in and fill that void. And of course, it's great to see the likes of Kwanzaa and Connor Bradley and these guys, Bobby Clark and all these guys stepping up and stuff like that. So that only bodes well for the future, but not necessarily sustainable within the current season. And that would be the fear. Daz is saying the Echo have said that he's out, Niall, as well. So there you go. Not good. David Lynch has said he will miss out tomorrow having a scan. So that's Allison out tomorrow, which changes my lineup. I won't be able to fix it, but I will know in case you're coming on to see it. Allison out with a hamstring injury, major blow. Yeah, major blow. Yeah, absolutely. But listen, Quavine came in, and he came in that Burnley game as well. And he made some really, really good saves and stuff like that. So let's not devalue what Quavine Kelleher brings to Liverpool as well. We know it's not the level of Alisson, but there's not too many goalkeepers in the world that bring the level of Alisson. Big up, Greg's. How are you, my friend? Don't forget to check out Greg's channel as well on the slab as well. Give him all your support and love and all that good stuff. Up, Nialish, let's go. Brentford, Ivan Toney, the bag of brace. Wouldn't be surprised if it's 3-2 and Ivan Toney bags a brace. Just get the 3 points on the W and get out of there. Crazy that Stephanie McMahon knew about Ashley Saga. Yeah, that's the talk, innit, Acers? That's the talk. And of course, if she knew, Triple H knew. So now what happens? All this stuff that's coming out. Top man Nialish, yeah, absolutely, Greg. Love it. The boys actually did a show there last week, a tribute to Carl Weathers as well. So if you were a Predator fan or a Rocky fan, check out the tribute that the boys did as well. Right, that's the Gaffer's comments in the bag. Let's have a little bit of build up here. If you're looking to it at the moment, looking at form, Brentford at the moment, 4 losses and 2 wins. But picking up a real big win there last week against Wolves, 2-0 against Wolves away at Molineux, which was a big win for them considering previously they had lost 4-1 to Wolves at home, which was a really, really bad loss. The other win they picked up in that run of 6 games was a 3-2 win over Nottingham Forest. They got beaten by, as I said, Wolves. They got beaten by Crystal Palace. 3-1 was a significant one. And they also got beaten by Spurs 3-2 when it was a really good game. And they also got beaten 3-1 by Man City. Liverpool on the flip side had 5 wins on the loss. The loss coming against Arsenal. Really, really poor performance on the day. 3-1. Konate getting sent off. He served his ban now, so he's back. But that was a real poor performance. The win last week against Burnley, the 3-1 scoreline didn't really tell the tale of the game. In the first 15 minutes, Burnley could have at least had a brace, if not 3, which would have put a different light on this game. But certainly after half time, we took over and started playing more like what we can see. And that's what we wanted to see. But that Arsenal loss coming in a run of a number of wins, 5 wins out of 6 in the last 6 games in the league. Really, really important. Let's get some team news at the moment. In team news at the moment, Jensen picked up an injury last week at Molineux, but it looks like he's going to be okay. Visa comes back from the AFCON along with Onyeki. They're back available. Let's see if Thomas Frank puts them straight in or what story isn't there. But also Rico Henry out with a knee and Buemo out with an ankle. Shada out with a groin. Hickey out with a toe. And Josh Da Silva recently sustained a serious knee injury as well and is expected to miss the rest of the season. These knee injuries this season and all these season-ending injuries are just absolutely crazy. As I said already, the big news for us: Mo Salah returns, Joe Gomez returns, Connor Bradley returns. So many returns in there at the moment. Kanate back after suspension as well, so that will definitely lift the squad. Unfortunately, Trent out for 5 days or 5 matches, as we said, which doesn't help things at all. We know Thiago aggravated his situation as well. He could be out for the rest of the season. We may or may not see him again. Joel Matip, of course, is out with the knee injury, not expected to be back. Might make the last game to give him a send-off. Ben Doak out with a knee. Stefan still out with the calf. Thiago with the hip. Szoboszlai out with the thigh. And now we're hearing breaking news in the last half an hour that Alisson Becker also out with a hamstring injury. Going to have a scan tomorrow, but will miss the Brentford game. I'm sure Thomas Frank on the news of that, not to celebrate a player's injury, but will be boiled by that news. But Quavin will step in. No doubt he'll do a good job for us. He's rarely let us down. So if you look at the Brentford, if you look at the lineups here, we're going to bring up the lines. We'll take a few comments first. Let's see, where are we? Looking forward to watching Power Trip tonight. SmackDown is going to be entertaining. SmackDown is going to be electric. Has there ever been a time in pro wrestling where you haven't not wanted to miss a Raw or a SmackDown? Goes to show you the power of what they're doing at the moment. Reminds me of the old days where it was unmissable TV. Did you get AC/DC tickets, Acers? I'll give you a laugh. I tried to get AC/DC tickets this morning. Morris got 2 standing. I tried to get 2 for Crow Park, and I couldn't get them because I was getting them for Ben for his 21st. I wanted to share the moment with Ben, go to AC/DC, possibly their last concert in Europe. So I wanted to go to that and share that moment with Ben for his 21st and stuff. But I couldn't get them. So what I did do, I booked 2 tickets for AC/DC in Wembley on July the 7th, which I think is even better. So I was happy enough with that, and I got them at a very reasonable price. They were €119 plus the booking fee, so probably up just over about 150. Got the tickets on via GoGo. Very, very happy. I'm up in the stands. I don't care. It's all about sharing the moment with Ben, and I'm very, very happy with that. So we'll be going over to Wembley and over to London for that weekend. July the 7th is the Sunday, so we'll probably go over Saturday and stay till the Monday, and we'll have a great weekend celebrating Ben's 21st. So really looking forward to that. Prices for tickets are ridiculous. Yeah, I've seen they've gone up there and it's absolutely madness. Funny enough, after I booked the 2 tickets that I booked, I went back on and the tickets in that section now are selling for about 370 and all. But I've seen tickets up over the grand at the moment. Absolutely crazy. Aces Rampage starts at 12 tonight. There we go. That has no interest in Rampage. Aces, you've come around to our way of thinking. Are you done with AEW? Are you done with AEW? Mo Salah will be PSG #1 target in the summer. They're going to have to cough up an awful lot of money because he ain't going to PSG unless they're matching those Saudi offers. So let's see what happens. Awesomely Red in the house. How are you? Hi, pal. What's the crack? I am good. Hope you are good, my friend, as well. Awesomely Red 2020. There we go. Right, let's go with lineups. I don't think there's any secret in the Brentford lineup what way they're going to line up and stuff like that. There might be slight little changes. Maybe Visa comes in on Yeki. Maybe they come back in and stuff like that. Let's see what happens. But in general, this is how they tend to line up. Jensen, there might be a doubt about him after picking up that injury at Molyneux against Wolves, but he should be okay. Haven't heard anything today in the press conference about him not being available, but that's a big one. For us, things have changed slightly. So obviously, Alisson goes out and Quavin Kelleher comes in based on that hamstring issue. Hope it's not something serious, and I hope he's not going to be missing for a few weeks. Let's see what happens. For me, Joe Gomez goes back into the left berth. I don't think he should lose that left spot. I think it was his, and he was unlucky last week to go down with that flu virus that was in the camp. And I think he should have retained his place last week as well. Let me know your thoughts on that. Does Robbo go back in? Does Joey keep his spot? I think Joey's been electric since he's gone into that left back spot, and I'm exceedingly excited to see him playing out of that position as well. Of course, I'm on the Joe Gomez train about getting a goal this season. I want him to get a goal. Joe Gomez to score for Liverpool this season. That's what I want. Middle pairing picks itself. Van Dijk and Kanate, I would expect. And Connor Bradley with Trent being out. And even if Trent was available, there's a discussion whether Conor Bradley should go in there anyway, and Trent might have filled in on that right side of midfield. I think Endo goes back into the 6. Unlucky in the Asia Cup, but comes back in and was in great form prior to going. I think in the 3 games in the build-up to the Asia Cup, before he went away, he was shouts for man of the matches and stuff like that, and also straight back in there with Endo. Curtis obviously operating on the left, normally where Mac operates. They might switch them around. Jones might go to the right, Mac to the left. Let's see what happens there. Thinking about that as our 3 midfield. Mac 10, Endo and Curtis Jones. And then up front is where the debate happens. Does Mo Salah go straight back in? Or based on this kind of situation that's happened with us now at the moment, we're bringing players back and then getting re-injured and stuff like that. We can ill afford that to happen to Mo Salah. Does Mo Salah start tomorrow? Or does he spring him from the bench if he's needed? Or does he probably needs to get some sort of minutes in him in the build-up to the Carabao Cup final. You don't want him going into that cup final too fresh. So does he start? I think he has to start. I think he will give the squad a huge lift if he starts. Darwin up the middle, of course. And then the question is on the left side, do we deploy Diogo Jota, who just won Player of the Month, and we'll put that up in a few minutes, along with Klopp and along with Conor Bradley, or do we deploy Lucho in there, Lucho Diaz? So let us know what you think about that on your forward line as well. I think Mo has to go back in, but he doesn't have to go back in. But I think Mo back on the pitch as well. I think he elevates Darwin's game and Jota's game as well if he's there. And I think Lucho Diaz might miss out based on that. I don't think he can drop Jota after the month that he's had and picking up the award and all and bang him onto the bench. I think based on the press conference, we'll probably see Harvey Elliott at some stage. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And you could see Gakpo as well at some stage as well, but it all depends on how this all unfolds. So we shall see. We have been slightly slower starters and stuff like that. Acers, AW Rampage's WWE version of main event, if even. Midfield is a conundrum in my opinion. Let us know what you're going with, awesomely. Let us know who you think should go in there and what you think. Darwin left, Jota centre, and Mo right, in my opinion. I think Darwin in the middle, closer to Mo. I think prior to Mo going to the AFCON, was working that little bit better. But the beauty of this as well, they can also interchange during the game as well. So let's see what happens there. But yeah, great shout. Diaz on the bench, absolutely. You can't. There is no. I think there's 2 things that are going to be really difficult tomorrow, and it'll be interesting to see because obviously we've got Luton, I think, during the week, and then of course we have the final next weekend. That's it in. If it happens, Mo right, Jota middle, Nunes left. Yeah, I'm okay with that as well because I know Nunes on the left is quite the operator as well. I wouldn't be upset with that. I like the way they can interchange as well if they want to. But I hate 12:30 kickoffs again. Yeah, absolutely. It's just, and it was interesting. I don't know if you got the interview with the Premier League guy on Talk Sport with Simon Jordan, but Simon Jordan tore into him about the amount of times Liverpool have been getting these 12:30 kickoffs and all. And your man tried to say, well, it's just the profiling of the way we do things and all that kind of stuff. And Simon Jordan absolutely took him apart. And it's not often you see Simon Jordan batting for Liverpool, but he went in hard on him. He also took him apart on the money that's trickling down in this so-called football pyramid that really just doesn't really happen at any level at all. So it was good to see it. Check it out. It's on YouTube and it's well worth a watch. But yeah, I think those boys can interchange and stuff like that, and I think that's really, really important. I think if you look at Brentford, obviously Tony is the danger, both in winning set pieces, in creation, in scoring goals, and if you give up a penalty, it's basically giving up a goal. Maupay has found a bit of form. Him coming into the side as cover for the AFCON and all that kind of stuff. Maybe he has nailed down that position. Let's see what happens with Fizza and Onyeki tomorrow. Let's see what Thomas Frank is thinking if they come in. Nogard really strong in the midfield and stuff like that. And the way they pack that midfield with that 5 as well, we're going to have to be really, really careful because with us deploying the 3, with them with the 5, if we're not really careful and Endo isn't on it, we can really get overrun in midfield. And the thing about Brentford as well is if Brentford start the way Burnley started last week, I would argue that Brentford will be a lot more clinical in front of goal than what Burnley is, and we could find ourselves very quickly a couple of goals down if we're not careful. And I think it's really, really important to stress that. But it's going to be a cracking game. We have to find a way to win, get the 3 points on the board, get the W, create that gap of 5 points again, and lob the pressure back onto City and back onto Arsenal. I expect Arsenal. I think Arsenal are playing Burnley, isn't it? And I expect them to absolutely roast them. And City will be an interesting one as well. But I don't expect us to maintain that gap. But certainly, if we were to lose tomorrow or to draw and we were to cough up the top of the table to Man City, then we're in serious trouble. And as I said, Brentford as well really need the points as well. They're looking over their shoulder. They need to be so careful as well. And it's just so important. But it's good to see you back from your holidays in Florida. Yeah, I'm back, man. I've been back over 2 weeks now, actually. I think I'm nearly back. I must be back over 2 weeks at this stage. Came back, had COVID. Couldn't do much about that, but we've been banging out the shows awesomely. We've been banging out the shows and putting them up there about the wrestling, Liverpool, football shows and all. Even through COVID, when I was half dying, as they say, we were still putting out the content, and that's the main thing. So again, let us know if you have any changes to that. Obviously, Queeving coming in is the big news tonight. Allison with a potential hamstring injury. Scan tomorrow, won't be at the game. Bad news as always. But a bit of good news is Jota picking up the player of the month and the gaffer picking up the manager of the month, which is great to see. And we did have a really good January, absolutely. And especially on the back of losing Endo to the Asia Cup and losing Salah to the AFCON. Big players for us at the time. Arguably our two best players at the time going off and stuff like that. And as we said, we had to battle through that and find a way to get through January, and we did. But none of that will matter if we drop the ball tomorrow at Brentford. So we've got to go out there, do a professional job, get the job done. And a special mention, I could have done it all in one slide, but this man definitely deserves a slide himself. Absolutely sensational from Conor Bradley, heading off after that Chelsea game. The unfortunate news of his dad passing away. He was sensational against Chelsea, sensational. And delighted to see that he picked up the award, and deservedly so. And of course, always our support and our thoughts are with him in this difficult time getting over the passing of his father. But no better man to get on the pitch, get the football going, and make his dad proud. He's having a sensational season, and long may it continue. So, Conor Bradley, hats off to you, my friend. We spoke about Sven coming in for the Legends game. Where are we? Daz. Have you heard from Jamie Niall, wondering when he's live next? I haven't heard that. He's been doing loads of live shows. He's been banging out the content this week as well. I think, was he not scheduled? Did he do a Brentford one last night or something like that? He's been smashing out the shows anyway and stuff like that. He's interesting in the way he does the shows as well, because he gives you little teasers and stuff like that, and then he'll put out a show. I tend to kind of sort my shows as much as I can early in the week. The Brentford one, obviously, I didn't, because I wasn't sure whether I could do or not. We had guys here this evening doing plumbing work in our bathroom, and I thought the tank in the attic would be screaming at me and the boys would be drilling walls and all that. But thankfully, they got it done before 7:30, so we were able to jump on and get it done. Awesomely is in. I have been off social media and stuff, so I didn't know you were back. Absolutely, pal. I'll tell you. And it's good. How did you enjoy being off social media? It's nice, isn't it, when you can decompress off it? Any news about his daughter, Jamie? I think she's doing. I think she's doing really well. Everything was going well, and he was back on doing shows and stuff like that. So I'm sure the news is really good. And our support is always with Jamie. He's a top lad. Last thing we want to finish on. How do you guys feel about this, Reds? How do you feel? Before we give our predictions for the game, how do you feel about this one? Xavi Alonso linked with the job. Sounds like he's going to be the guy. We've also expressed an interest in the director of football, I think it is, at West Ham, I think it is, who's formerly Leverkusen. But how are you feeling about this? Is there anyone else in the picture? Anyone else you'd like to see given the chance? I've been listening to I don't know how they're Liverpool fans, but absolutely lunatics out there on Twitter talking about Steven Gerrard coming in as the manager. And I'm just thinking, good Lord. And the basis for thinking about it was how well he did at Rangers. How well he did at Rangers is the blueprint for coming in. to managing Liverpool Football Club. These people have lost their goddamn mind. Awesomely, I hated it. That's why I am back Monday afternoon. Yeah, I am back Monday afternoon. Yeah, it's did you? Yeah, I like it. I like when I can get off social media for a little while and just decompress. It takes up so much of our time. Yeah, Bayern Munich wants him also. What's the thinking on that, Acers? Is the Liverpool job? How do you compare the Liverpool job to the Bayern Munich job? What would be your thoughts on that? I think if it was me and it was my CV, I'd be taking the Liverpool job. I think ultimately, if the progression of his managerial career continues in an upward trend, and he does really well, and let's say he came to Liverpool or to Bayern Munich, I think Liverpool will be a better one if he can create that kind of success. And I think it's going to be interesting for him going to Liverpool. Now that the dust has kind of settled on Jurgen leaving the building, and everyone has kind of somewhat come to terms with it. There's a certain level of excitement building now for who might come in, what way we will play, what players will come in, all that kind of stuff. I'd be quite excited to see a manager like Xavi Alonso come in. I like the way he's playing at Leverkusen. I like the way he mixes it up. I like the way he changes it somewhat from game to game in terms of formation and things like that. No, I've been quite interested to see. Now, obviously, I don't want him to meet us in the final of the Europa League or something like that and beat us and stuff like that. Um, but I would be quite enthusiastic because I mean, ultimately, I'd imagine he sees himself as manager of Real Madrid one day. Um, I think that's just the case. But I think he has to continue to build his CV. And I'd like to see him build his CV at Liverpool for a number of years and see how that goes. But it'd be interesting to see when he looks at the squad because he'll be looking at it in a different light. It wouldn't be the same as Jurgen, where with Jurgen it can be quite romantic at times in terms of how he looks at players and how he wants to treat them. And there's a humanity to him, if you like. I think with Alonso coming in with some fresh ideas and be able to look at the squad and give us thoughts on the squad and who he feels is good enough, not good enough, and who he brings in and who he can attract in. And hopefully, I said on a couple of podcasts ago, I don't necessarily want to come in, not necessarily like Eric Ten Hag, where he goes and he raids Leverkusen or he raids even the Bundesliga. Let him bring in players that match what he kind of wants. The talk is there's going to be money there. We've heard it before. I don't think necessarily he would come in unless that promise is followed through on in terms of the volume of money he's going to be given. Um, does that money get generated out of the ownership? In the past, we haven't seen it quite like that. Does Mo Salah exit the building? Is this the time for Mo to exit the building with Klopp going? A real fresh start for us. I love Mo Salah. But let us know your thoughts on that. What do you think should happen there? How does that go? Is if he's being promised big money, is the big money related to Salah potentially leaving? Or is there big money there that wasn't spent? I know we held back in January. Was the club and the ownership aware of Jurgen Klopp's decision? So they turned around and said, well, we're not going to get you bringing players in because you're not going to be here from June onwards, and we're going to keep that money back and we're going to give it to the new manager. Let me know your thoughts on that. I think he's the man. Daz, you're convinced he's the man. Yeah, I don't think the one thing that's out there at the moment as well is there's not a huge amount of top managers out there at the moment. When you think about it, and a lot of the really good managers are now starting to come to the twilight of their career and stuff like that. So not necessarily what you want to bring in to a project like Liverpool at the moment that's beginning another growth phase and another revolution, if you like, you know. And with Alonso coming in, he has that youth on the side as well. He understands the club, he understands the culture and the bond with the city and with the people. And if he can execute that somewhat like what Jurgen did, then that could only bear fruit. But I could see Xavi Alonso becoming a really top manager over time. I think there's signs there that you can see that he's doing certain things, even at a very young stage in his career, as a manager and stuff like that that look really, really good. And I like that. We've often spoke about on the podcast how we get jaded by 4-3-3. Should we be trying something different? Do we have to deploy different systems when we're up against different teams? All that kind of stuff. But yet we still revert back to form, which is 4-3-3 that has served us so well. So it'll be interesting to see. Different style of management, different style of analysing things and getting ready for games and all that kind of stuff. And it'll be very different for the squad as well. Very, very different for the squad. You know, like what happens when you look at, say, Robbo and Trent and Connor and Joe Gomez, and suddenly this week he wants to play with 3 centre backs. So you have Virgil in there with Kanate and Kwanzaa, or maybe whoever else he brings in, and he has to make those big decisions and explain to those players why this week you're potentially sitting out and what way does it work and how you keep those players happy and what happens there. So I am intrigued to see. I'm quite excited to see this next phase of Liverpool, notwithstanding my sadness for Jurgen leaving as well. Alonso will be Bayer Leverkusen boss next season. Yeah, there's talk that he may stay. But then if he stays, does he miss out on the opportunity? Or is he holding out? Is he holding out potentially for Ancelotti to retire? And is it Real Madrid that he actually wants? And would Real Madrid put Alonso in there at this stage in his career? Interesting stuff. He has no chance of winning big titles with Liverpool in the Premier League. Is more tougher than German football. Yeah, that's a good point. I wouldn't say he has no chance, but I'd say it'd be interesting to see how he takes what he does in the Bundesliga and how that translates into the Premier League. Interesting. And I mean, who's to say over the next 6 or 8 weeks that Leverkusen's season doesn't fall off and collapse and Bayern come to the forefront again? Who knows what's going to happen? But just wanted to get your thoughts on that. But I mean, obviously the other name floating around is De Zerbi, obviously off Brighton. There was talk of that and talk of Graham Potter and all sorts of silly stuff. Neither of them am I very, very excited about. Not to the level of Alonso. But you would imagine as well that Liverpool have been working in the background on this as well. They've known for a period of time. This hasn't arrived on their lap in the last month or so. So let's see what way it would happen. Would he bring in Rafa if he did take the Liverpool job? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. I think he has his own ways and he has his own ideas and his own ideals and how he wants to play football and stuff like that. And I think he's quite dynamic in his approach as well, which could bear fruit for us. But he'll certainly understand. He'll have a knowledge and an understanding of the Premier League and how difficult it is and how challenging it is week on week and the level of games and how Liverpool generally is involved in most of the trophies throughout the season and how the squad that's needed, you know, to cope with that and everything else and all. So let's see what happens. There'll be a whole new set of coaches coming in because we know that Pep Linders and all those boys are exiting the building as well. So you're going to have a whole new coaching setup coming in to the AXA Training Centre. You're going to have Alonso coming in with his ideas. You're probably going to have a new director of football, potentially someone that's worked at the guy who's worked at Leverkusen. His name slips me now, from West Ham. So we could have a very, very interesting setup, and it could be something to get excited about. Having said that, let's get back to the game in hand, which is Brentford versus Liverpool coming tomorrow. 12:30 kickoff, the dreaded 12:30 kickoff. That hasn't been so dreaded for us the last couple of outings. We've done all right. Give us your predictions for this game. How do you see this game going, Brentford versus Liverpool? What is your predictions? Would we have an interim manager until we find the right person? No chance. Absolutely no chance. I don't think. I think for a club of our level, I don't think we can afford to be putting out a situation like that. I think that would be actually quite shocking and it would be quite damaging. And I mean, even an interim manager, who would you put in as an interim manager? I think it would be kind of weird. I just think Klopp will be Real Madrid manager soon. It could happen. I mean, when he left Dortmund, he said he was going to take a break from football. And like, what did we give him? 4 months, and next thing he was Liverpool manager. I think if Real Madrid come along and there's an opportunity there, Um, I mean, who's going to turn that down? Even if you're tired and exhausted, who's going to turn it around? Who's going to turn down the chance to manage Real Madrid? Be absolutely crazy. Um, I don't know. Maybe the German national job might suit him better in terms of it's kind of a little bit more of a part-time job. Still pressure there, but not that level of daily constant pressure all the time. So let us know your thoughts on that. Eno's in. What's a crack, Niall, and everybody on the live chat? Have a great weekend. Absolutely. Draw is best result tomorrow. Daz is going for a 3-0 Liverpool win. I think we'll concede. Awesome's going for 2-1 Liverpool. Mo, Jota, and Tony. Bite your hand off for that right now, wouldn't we? And big up Richie from Daz. Bonkers is in. Big up Bonkers. Could Salah start Bradley or Gomez? Yeah, we were just talking about it there, Bonkers. For me, Gomez has to start. Let me know your thoughts. I'll bring up the lineup there as well. And obviously with Allison out and Quavine coming in, that's kind of a big blow and stuff like that. But I think Joe Gomez has to start. I think Joe Gomez has made that left back position his now. And I think if Robbo wants it back, he has to earn it back. That's my thoughts on that. Let me know your thoughts on that as well. Salah, I think there's a real conundrum there in Salah because if you start him and he breaks down, this is what we've been seeing with players. Why would it be any different? So if you start him and he breaks down and you lose him for a number of weeks, I think secretly the gaffer was talking about how he wasn't thinking about the final. But I think when he thinks about the players and who he's going to need for the final, I think that'll be a problem. Now, Bonkers on Allison. News breaking about 40 minutes ago before I came on from Fabrizio and also the Echo that he has injured a hamstring and he's going for a scan tomorrow and won't be available for the Brentford game. So that's the latest news coming out. That was literally broke about 10-15 minutes before I went live. But I think, with Salah Bradley, I think definitely slots straight back into right back, and hopefully he continues the form that he showed before he went out on compassionate leave with his dad passing away. So hopefully that will happen. I think if Salah's available, I think we have to play him. I think he lifts everyone else's game around him and stuff like that, and he would give it a real big lift. So let's see what happens there. Awesomely, I've seen reports that Klopp will take the Barca job, but I can't see it. I don't know. See, the likes of Real Madrid and Barca and stuff like that, these are opportunities, like the German national team as well. These are opportunities that potentially only come around once in a lifetime and stuff like that. And if you refuse them, maybe he fancies maybe a lifestyle change and he wants to head down to Spain, get that good warm weather and stuff like that and all. Who knows what it is? But I think if he was offered the Barca job or the Madrid job or the German national job, I think he'd take it. I think he'd take it. And I don't think for us, look how he's leaving. So once he leaves, after what he does after that, really shouldn't be our concern. Like, it's not like he's going to go to Man United or something like that, you know. So, Bonkers, did you hear about Allison? Yeah, there you go, that he's back now, injured. Bonkers, I would Diaz, not Nunes. Oh, right, didn't hear that. Yeah, you're going for Diaz over Nunes, are you? Interesting. Diaz being kind of indifferent in terms of his form, hasn't he? Can look really, really good at times in the match, and at times look really, really awful. But let's see what happens. Keep it going. Let us know your predictions as well, folks. What's your predictions for the game? What are you going with here? You going with a Liverpool win? Liverpool going to be top of the table again tomorrow evening at this time. Fingers crossed, of course, that happens. But plenty of thought for the gaffer tonight. And again, another injury to a key player. So let's see what that scan produces tomorrow, and we'll get an update, no doubt, tomorrow evening or Sunday. Hopefully I'll be able to do a match reaction. I'm in work tomorrow, but if I can't do a match reaction, what I'll do is I'll put something together maybe on the way home in the car or something like that, and give my reaction to the match. But we're hoping for a big win. My prediction, I'm going for a 3-1 Liverpool win, but I don't think it's going to be easy. I think it's going to be kind of like the Burnley game. It's going to be a little bit untidy, a little bit out of control, and we might even be relying on a little bit of luck. But I think it's going to be a tough one. It's just crazy that TNA now surrenders on a Friday night. It's It's probably because there's so much stuff on the Saturday and the Sunday. They're trying to work it in there. We have to be top going into the City game. Yeah, we absolutely do awesomely. That's absolutely key. Bonkers is going for a 4-1 win. We'd absolutely take that right now, wouldn't we? That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? And that fourth goal, Joey Gomez. Joey Gomez. We're on this campaign. Joe Gomez to score this season. If we're 3-1 up tomorrow and we get a penalty, that ball has to be handed to Joe Gomez to take that penalty. When's that, Acers? Next Friday, that's. There you go. Right, folks, that's it. Quick. What are we doing? 50 minutes, actually, long enough, actually, funny enough. But yeah, hopefully a big win for the Reds tomorrow. Hopefully we can take the buzz out of the bees, as they say, with a little bit of luck, and hopefully come through with no more injuries or anything like that. And let's keep our fingers crossed, hopefully on Allison on that scan and stuff like that as well, and see what else happens. Until next time, folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, drop a like in the video. Have a safe weekend. Enjoy it no matter what you're doing. Try to enjoy the football. I know it's kind of nail biting at times when it gets to this stage in the season, stuff like that. But we got to stay on top of the table. If we cough that up, it's going to be near impossible to keep it going then. Until next time, folks, really appreciate you coming on. As Eno says, we're over and out, and awesomely gets the last comment. Great podcast, pal. Up the Reds. 3 points, please. Absolutely. Let's do this, Reds. Cheers, folks.